folks, it's Yannick Gwizdala. It's the Yannick Gwizdala podcast. I'm already cheating a little bit on this episode because we are going through all of Ian Martin Allison's HX Stomp presets. We recently, like football players at the end of a game, we recently swapped jerseys. We swapped HX preset packs. I recently put out a brand new one myself with such, what did I put in there? I put a bunch of stuff, a lot of synth kind of stuff, and a lot of synthy stuff, some jamming things where you can actually do stuff in time. Anyway, I recently put out that pack, actually at the insistence of Ian. He had a big part in saying, hey man, you should probably put out some more things. I put a preset pack out some time ago, maybe a couple of years ago, had the original JG bass solo patch in there, some harmonizer things, some fun stuff, and it was definitely overdue an update or an addition, shall we say. And Ian had just put out his kind of monster update pack, which we are going to play every single sound of in today's episode. And he's like, man, you should really put out some more sounds. I think folks would like to hear that. They'd like to play it. I actually think it's very interesting, having loaded Ian's sounds in here. I haven't played them. Full disclosure here. This thing at the top of the episode was me cheating. So I wanted to be able to say I haven't played them. This is the first time I'm playing them. But as soon as I switched it on just to check we had signal, I found this sound. I was like, oh damn, I kind of want to play it. Okay, so here we are. We've hit record. We're going into them, and this isn't sponsored. Ian didn't ask me to do this. Like I said, we swapped HX Stomp packs so we could check out each other's work, and I'm very grateful for that. That Ian was cool enough to send his over. And yeah, what I wanted to say was I think it's really interesting, even if the sounds aren't something you might gravitate towards immediately. You don't think, oh yeah, that's my sound. I think there are a few ways to approach it, and one of them is to take a look under the hood, to take a look and see what either Ian or myself are doing in terms of the programming, in terms of the signal chain, the gain structure, how we sequence things, just as we would with analog pedals on a pedal board, how we would put a pedal board together. I think it's really interesting for me to see how Ian does it with his presets. I'm sure anyone out there listening or watching would find similar value in that, whether you get mine or Ian's or whoever's preset packs you get. By the way, I should say that they're all linked below in the description of this video or in the show notes. If you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, you can go download these at our respective websites. And yes, it will be super interesting for me to discover these in real time with you. There's one I'm kind of looking forward to because I know that when I interviewed Ian for my podcast a few months ago, another thing that I will link in the description of the video, he played something. It's the name of a state. Where is it? It's a state in the Montana. That's it. He had this really nice sound. I forget which bass he was using. But he had this really nice sound, and I was like, "Oh, I immediately hear music in that." It is something that I would actually use myself, and I've sort of been thinking about it ever since. And here I have it. I have it in the in my Helix rack. Now, that's another thing I should say before we get going. The way my studio's set up and the way it's so much easier for me to run through these is that I have my Helix rack over here to the side. So I've actually loaded all of these Stomp presets into the rack. Now I understand that they might not all have the same functionality foot switch wise. So that's not going to get a check in the loss column for functionality from me. It was just the easiest way to get through them all in my studio with the foot controller here. But I believe they are set up, as are mine, I believe they are set up primarily for the regular HX Stomp. Something I did with my preset pack, I don't know if Ian did it for his, I have to ask him, is that I put a separate version for the HX Stomp XL because it has more buttons, and I just sort of gave a different layout so you have more easier and more efficient access to some of the blocks in the presets. Anyway, let's get into it. Aside from being able to look under the hood, that's some of these sounds. I think I've think I have everything on there. Besides from being able to look under the hood at some of these sounds, this one is, they're in, I guess, no particular order other than the one I added them in. This is called Ultimate Amp. And I know that all of these sounds are from multiple packs on Ian's site. So I'll try and make sure I give you the name of them as I play them, and then you can go cross-reference them on his website, I believe. Again, that's all linked below. And if there's anything you like the sound of, by all means, go pick it up, support the cause. If there are any of mine you like the sound of, they're all on my website as well. And we're starting out, I have it as, I put a whole new preset bank in my Helix rack, and this is 01A. And this is called Ultimate Amp. It has a couple of options of drive and fuzz, which are not engaged when you get into the preset. There's obviously some saturation going on there. We have a speaker and an amp and an EQ and a couple of different distortions. I'm not going to give away every element of it. That would be pretty silly. Because then you could just go program them all yourself. I encourage you to go buy them if you like the sound of them. But I will make some observations here and just general things I like and things, maybe that work for me, maybe don't work for me, how I might manipulate them to work for me. That's the other thing as well. I think that of all of these sounds of Ian's, although some of them are going to be like 100% dialed in the way I would like them, some of them are absolutely not. I think no matter how you find them, it's about using them for inspiration to get into your thing. Like I know for myself that all of my presets were made because that's the way I like those sounds. It's an honest representation of how I hear sound and signal chain and gain structure and pedal order and all of those things. That's why I put them out there. I'm pretty sure if you were to ask Ian, he would say the same thing. Like he actually uses these sounds on gigs. These sounds have come about not because he wanted to just sell a preset pack, but because he actually uses them on gigs. We talked a little bit about that. So I'm pretty sure throughout all these sounds, these are very usable, very personal. And while they might, again, some might be perfect for you, some might not, they're not far away from being tweaked to where they could be personal to you. I think that's the beauty of this process and being able to share these things digitally. Imagine having to send you like 5 different pedals with all the markings, written down on a piece of paper. How analog would that be? That's essentially what Ian and I are able to do for you guys. We're able to share all of our settings digitally in a very small file. And then if you have this stuff, if you have an HX Stomp on the other end, you can go and manipulate it. Let's add some drive to this. It's quite warm. Oh, we get up into the high register of the instrument. Maybe I want to give it some more highs. There we go. To make it sing out a bit more. There's a drive option and there's a fuzz option as well. Woo! I love harmonics with distortion or fuzz. I will say that I think Ian is probably known for playing mainly a 4-string bass, a ton of different 4-string basses. If you saw my blindfold test video that we did together at his place, you'll see me play, I think 13 of his basses. He was trying to mess me up. Not all of them were 4-string, but I would say that if maybe 75% of his collection of instruments that he uses on a regular basis are 4 strings. So I could have grabbed a 4-string off the rack and done that, but I really wanted to play these presets from my musical perspective, and hopefully we get a bit of both worlds here with my 5-string, because we do have E, A, D, G. We just have that high C on top. Hopefully we get the regular 4-string sound for you guys, and then sort of my perspective on it. In terms of how I might use these sounds for my own music, which is essentially what I'm looking for. If ever I were to get something like this or to look into something like this, I'm looking for inspiration. That's kind of That's always the path forward. So now we go to the next one. This is I Am a Sig. Oh, it's a nice clean sound. A little bit of compression on the front end. I like that. What else do we have down there? Now we have a plethora of, maybe I'll switch to this camera up here. I'm doing the 2-camera thing. Let's see how that goes. We have a plethora of things down on the floor. We have a drive. That is very nice and clean. There's some chorus in here. Nice, some fuzz. Oh, so that's a little flappier. And the compression hits that a little differently. So immediately I'm like, I know I'm not going to play the same musical example as before. It's a totally different flavor. There's another fuzz over here. Wow, this I Am a Signature preset has so much fun stuff in it. Oh, I really like that. Little heavy. Maybe we'll add a little chorus to it. Yeah. So many nice options there. That's a lot of combos in one sound. Like, I know when I was making my preset packs and was going through each preset, I'm like, I want to do I want to pack it full of stuff? Will people be like, oh, there are only 2 blocks in here? That's really, that's not so much value. And I came to understand that every situation is different, and some of the things with literally just 1 block in them could be the most useful thing out there. Conversely, all of these options could be really nice if you don't want to change patches and you have a ton of things to do, from clean to saturated to chorus on a gig, if that's your style. So I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do it. And I think I have a greater appreciation for seeing value no matter how many things are in each preset. Okay, this episode is going to be 3 hours long if I don't move through these. This is called Ultimate DI. So I have some compression and I feel that. Here's another thing really important about any preset, about any sound I play, you play. I'm sure you feel this too. I would hazard a guess that almost everyone listening, if you've had a chance to play through any effects, you understand this and you totally feel this. It's the feeling. It's how the instrument feels when you play through these things. Just playing these 2 notes on the Ultimate DI preset is really different. If I go back to the I Am a Sig, the feeling is different. The sound is quite similar. There are obviously some subtle differences there, but the feeling is different. I think the compression is set a little different on the front end here. That's what it feels like. I feel some pressure as well here. There's a pressure to obviously to play good and to make good examples. There's also pressure to know what is going on, be able to explain it. And so yeah, this is not actually. This is one of the harder videos I've made, and it's unscripted and unrehearsed. Let's see. There are a couple of options on this Ultimate DI patch. One being drive. Oh, that's a nice bit of saturation. And it's always interesting to feel again, it's a feel thing, and where the touch hits the drive in a certain way. how hard you play, etc., etc. I mean, this is all basic stuff. I'm sure people out there going, yeah, we know. But very interesting. Okay, that's IMA Drive. There's also a little, there's some tape emulation on there. That's nice. I love that. Ian hipped me to the Retro Reel block in there, which I use aggressively on a lot of presets now. Oh, here we go. We got there early. This is the Montana. This is, I'm going to go front pickup on this. It feels like a little spring, is that what it is? Does it say? Oh, it does say spring trem. Okay. It's a beautiful sound. That a lot, and Ian sounded great playing it. Like, it's a note choice thing. I think that's what I liked about it when I heard him use it, when I was in the room sitting next to him hearing it for the first time, and it felt like it really helped and guided the note choice in such a musical way. It's doing the same for me. Like, how different am I playing right now compared to the other examples? I'm just listening to that. Listening to that real subtle tremolo and feeling the space. Yeah, really, really musical. And what else do we have here? Oh, we have a little chorus. Oh, that widens it. Really nice. And we have it says vibe. I'm going to guess that's vibrato. Oh. No, that's actually vibe. Like, gives it some more vibe. Sounds like a delay, yeah. Wonder if we can change the tap tempo. Okay, so it's not set to tap tempo, so it's set in there to like a millisecond, a fixed millisecond thing. I guess you see. There we go. That's something I would change personally. I really like the sound of it, but I'd also like to be able to control the tap tempo there. And maybe that's something that's like not crossing over to the Helix rack, for instance, from a preset that's made for the Stomp. Again, full disclaimer, that could be an issue on some of these. But that's definitely something I would dig having, would be the tap tempo there. But as you can hear, really nice. So glad we got to that. Here we go. Trunk rattle. Whoa. Hang on. Oh, wow. Okay, so we got to find the right range of the instrument, where it works the best. Maybe I'll go front pickup and then. So that's a super sub, basically. Whoa. You can imagine that, like, sitting in a huge mixed the right way. And we have, texture. A little bit of saturation. Maybe that's a fuzz or distortion. Or overdrive. And we have wobble, which I'm going to guess is a pretty aggressive chorus. Okay, there we go. Here's another thing instinctively that I would do, because I'm hearing a certain kind of music, and especially with a button entitled wobble, I would like the wobble to be perhaps momentary. So that's a really easy switch inside the Stomp. You just go in there to bypass a sign, and you, instead of being latching, you set it to momentary, and then you could be playing away. And instead of having to tap it again, you could just lean into it, wobble a little bit for a couple of beats, and then let it go. I love the momentary thing in any of the Helix Helix units, or just momentary period. That's not exclusive to Line 6. That's been happening forever and a day. Okay, trunk rattle. We rattle some trunks. I don't know how well that's going to translate because I'm wearing in-ears, and yeah, I think that's a big room kind of sound. Robo bass. Let's see what we got here. Oh, like a little slapback. And what do we have? Oh. Honestly, I'm not sure what to make of that in terms of trying to explain it, so I just won't. And some of these things they're gonna be like that. It's the music, the way it guides me to play will be the explanation, and I'd actually this will make for a good phone call at some point, or maybe even sitting down with Ian in person again in the not too distant future and running through his like all the thought and the process that went into like the backstory of making all of these presets. That would be very interesting to do. I'm going to leave that one right there as we go to Nightmare. They've got some good names. Oh, and now let's see what we've got. We've got Drive and Freddy. Like literally Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh, so it's got a tape delay. Woo, to get some feedback. And see, there's a momentary switch right there. I'm just leaning on the switch and then leaning off when it gets too much. That is very cool. And then figuring out when is the best time to hit the momentary switch after you play the note. That will be a coordination thing. So many of these things involve practice. They actually involve practicing with the preset, with whichever pedal or device you're using. I think that's an often overlooked element of what we do as musicians. We play the bass and we practice, notes and scales and arpeggios and chords and songs and all that stuff. Kind of actually really, really important if you play with effects a lot to practice the switching, the changing, when to lean on the momentary switches, how to get your sequencing through a set, how you organize your presets in a multi-effects unit. Like all of that takes just as much practice to pull off on the gig, I think. Here we go to Android Dreams. We are not even halfway through this thing. Ooh. What do we have here? I like this. The preset says choose a verb. So I guess that's gonna, different verb. So. Okay. Oh, you can do some really soupy cinematic soundscapey things with that. Big fan of that always. Damn, I was going to say something. Oh yes, the choose a verb thing, the back and forth between two different blocks, something I'm a big fan of. I did that a bunch in my preset thing, especially when you only have 3 buttons on the regular HX Stomp. It gives you access to way more blocks with less buttons, just having one engaged when you get to your preset, and then making sure that the 2 blocks you want to switch between have the same bypass foot switch assigned to it, and that one is engaged and one is disengaged when you assign them, and then you can switch back and forth Made a video. If I remember, I'll try and link that in the description as well. I made a video about 3 sort of hidden features of the HX Stomp, and that was one of them. I go into it in much more detail there. This one is called Chewbacca. Really? Let's see. Okay. Oh, we got a lot going on here. It kind of tracks pretty low. That's a G. It's not something I think you'd play very complex music with, but in terms of filling out super low fat end synth sound, very nice indeed. I must also highlight the fact that I may well be missing switchable elements of these presets because of the fact that I have it in the rack. Apologies for that. But so far, I've been able to access a ton of cool stuff at the feet, so maybe I'm not missing any of it at all. This one's called Deception. One of the hardest things, like with instrumental songs, is how to name them, and that's something I struggle with. I'd love to know the thought behind some of these names. Oh, so we have a. Sure, that's not what this sound was intended for, but wow! So I don't know. But also, I like using things for completely the opposite of what they were intended for. So apologies, Ian, if that's not what you were hearing when you made this. Okay, Leviathan. Let's see what this is. I'm guessing something large. Whoa! Nice. Sounds like like a compressor or something, or some auto swell in the beginning of the chain. Change the drive on it a little bit. There's delay. And you can have it dry, so wet and dry, cool. I also think there's so much value, and this is something I'm working on. I don't know if I have the pedal sitting right here, but not only can you, of course, make parallel paths within the Helix range, including, of course, the HX Stomp, which really fattens up the sound. There's so many stereo options. There are ways to maintain more integrity with the low end for us bass players. Split up effects only affect certain parts of the signal, etc., etc. There's also a massive part of what I'm hoping to make a massive part of my upcoming pedal board builds in the future, especially when I switch to a full stereo rig, is having the Stomp as part of one side of a parallel path at some point. So I can put synth sounds in this side, for instance, and then have a huge OC2 or vintage bass octave or whatever my octave of choice is underneath, pushing even more low end, and having more control over that part of the sound, being able to EQ the low end differently from the synth side of things. So when I hear a synth sound like that, I'm like, oh yeah, not only can you use this alone, but this would kind of be cool stacked as well in a much bigger picture signal chain. We're going to go to Super Soaker. Ooh, we've got a tail on this, I think. Give this a little more juice. bad version of Jamiroquai's Going Deeper Underground. Yeah, do like that a lot. Oh, we've got other things down here. We could make it dry, I guess. And we could put some drive on it. Oh, and there's a momentary for the octave up. Now, of course, you could do that with your fingers, but it's so much cleaner from a processing standpoint, I've found, to do that momentary octave up thing with a foot switch. Very cool. There's a looper in here. We don't really need to go over that. I don't think. It's a really basic preset with a looper. What looks like a nice preamp and a compressor. Very cool. Foundation. What do we got here? Okay, need to bring... Whoops. Bring that back down to Unity again. Okay. So basic kind of. Okay. Probably should have tuned the instrument as well. Such a class act. Just did the update in the Helix, so everything's slightly different. Get back to my course tuner. Oh, actually wasn't that bad. Pretty close. So on the foundation, we have just a little bit of drive we can add. I'll go front pickup. Super usable sound, and that's what I'm talking about. There are hardly any blocks on this preset. You might look at it and go, oh, well, what is, man, it's such a good feeling to play it. That's the value there, I think. At least that's what I get out of it. It feels really nice to play that sound. Very usable indeed. We've got drop tune. I wonder how much it drops. Oh, that's a half step. Is it right? Foundation? Yeah, half step. I'm not losing my mind. Oh. What happened here? Did my... Oh, I think my battery just died. Did it? It's definitely a connection issue. Wow. Okay, what timing, ladies and gentlemen. Is that a battery, or do I finally need a new cable? I think I might need a new cable. I've had this one for I've been using this one for like a decade. So this is like a half step down. That's cool. The whole thing with an amp and a drive option, or just straight up. It's so weird I don't have perfect pitch by any stretch of the imagination, but I do kind of know where things are on the instrument, and it is so weird to be playing C and hearing B. Okay, here we go. Oh no, this is really bad. Okay, I do have to change cables, and I wonder if I even have one close by. Oh no! Shoot, I bet I don't even have a cable here. How sad is that? Professional bass player, ladies and gentlemen, who doesn't even have a new cable. And you know what? We're going to have to waffle for a second. I know, like I haven't been doing for 40 minutes already. And it has been almost 40 minutes. Holy shit, I got to wrap this up soon. Okay. This, if only you could see what's going on here. So bad. I do have a cable, but it's purposed for something else. It's kind of long. And it's in totally the wrong place. But let's see if we can make this work. Buff. Let's put the strap back on. And let's see if it really was that cable just dying after all these years. Boom. Yeah, it was. So obviously I'm not Mr. Slap Guy. This is definitely not the bass for that. So I'm not sure how much you'll get out of me demoing Ian's preset titled Slap. There's 50 feet of cable in the way down here. Again, feeling-wise, you get that compressor sound. Yeah, you definitely get it. But my bass is probably not set up the right way EQ-wise. Definitely not set up like string height wise. That's the one time where I might go for a slightly lower action. Yeah, but it's definitely, the feeling is there. Wrong instrument, wrong player, but the feeling's there. There's a little saturation on it. Yeah. Wow. Oh, you know what? Hey, maybe it's not my trusty cable. Maybe it's actually the bass, and it needs a little bit of TLC, because now we have a... Oh, man, that's too bad. It's definitely that. Oh. Yeah. I think it's the circuitry. Oh, that's such a shame. And it's such a pain, because that means I've now got to go take care of that after this. Okay, let's try and get through some of these. This is something I don't. This is called Dirty Orange. I'm gonna guess. Yeah. This is emulating an orange amp. Actually, it reminds me of every dodgy rehearsal studio I used to go to in London when I was a kid. There's no reflection on Ian's preset, that's just how these amps sound. Oops. Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about that one, because it sounds very accurate, but I have some bad memories of being in crappy rehearsal studios when I was a kid. So that one is one that's not for me, but I think it's actually quite accurate, especially if it's able to drum up those kind of memories. We have, what is this, B15 Eras. Definitely got some compression in there. It's another one that's like, take the comp off. Gotcha. And it's like a 60s, 70s momentary. So you can kind of go back and forth between two sounds. We are definitely getting to the portion of the presets being that these are amp emulations that are something I don't immediately gravitate towards. Either using as an HX Stomp user literally every day of my life, I don't gravitate towards using these, or having much interest in using them. So again, very important to highlight when I am the wrong person to be talking about these. Oh, hang on, spoke too soon. Because I sort of really like that. And some chorus. Ooh. Definitely not what it was intended for, but that's actually a really fun sound, and that's under the GK Gen Z. Maybe the GK Gen Z has a filter on the head itself. Oh, we got SVT. Gonna be some classic sounds, no doubt. With the bright switch, yep. And says Hall. Is that a little bit of verb on there, maybe? But yeah, SVT, very straight ahead. Now we get into the synths. There are 1, 2, 3, I think 4 synths here. Oh, hello. I like a lot. Has another momentary octave up. Has wet. Oh. Okay. We got to something there. Very nice. That's Massive Moog. This is a Juno. Okay, fat sound, yes. Some filtering, always essential when doing synth design. The addition of some wet. There we go. Another synth where I suspect the sweet spot is somewhere higher up the neck. Kind of 8th to 15th fret. Very cool. Mini Moog. Oh yeah, listen to that. There's a little poke in the beginning. That little attack. Wobble, 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 wobble. And of course, we're playing synth sounds with an electric bass. The entire approach is sort of upside down and inside out. You're not pressing a key. Playing way more sort of percussively here with 2 hands. He's got the momentary on the squiggle, he's calling it. Very cool. Last one, 808. Going. Oh. We have a lot of options down here. Crush. Extra crush. It's the trouble with these sub sounds. They're pretty... Oh. I mean, that's my scene right there, right? That's kind of like my Frederick effects. That's interesting. So that's the 80. That's Ian's 808. Now I want to go A B it with my now I've got to remember which one it is. Is it Mars Attacks? No, that's one of my synths. Space Jam. Nope. Damn it. Nope. No. Oh, come on. Where is it? Now I can't find it because I did make a version of my Frederick Effects, and I want to. I want to A-B it. This is the fun part. Oh, here we go. Maybe it's this one. Ah. Nah, that's not really it, is it? I don't know. I know it's in there somewhere. And right now, I'm hard pushed to find it. It's in there somewhere because I know I made the Frederick Effects thing. You can go check out my video on my presets if you want a much more in-depth look into that. But those have been, ladies and gentlemen, 45 minutes later, kind of an in-depth look at Ian Martin Allison's, the brand new presets that of the latest addition to his whole preset universe, plus the old ones, the original ones, I guess, that he came out with. That one Montana that I was really enamored with when I played with him when we were hanging out in his studio, and really dug the sound of that. That might be one of my favorites out of the whole thing. Kind of worth the price of admission alone. But regardless, like I said, whether you dig them, don't dig them, whether it's like perfect for you, whether it's just there, but I need to change something, so easy to look under the hood and go like, oh, that's what he's doing. And same with my stuff. Oh, that's what Gwizdal is doing with those freaking harmonizer things that I had no idea about before. And if I just tweak it by a half step, those are the chords I'm looking for my music. So I think there's a lot to be learned. I had a blast looking under the hood of Ian's stuff today. Learned a lot, gotta say, in terms of some of his parallel path things, some of the order, compression at the front, compression at the end, all kinds of stuff like that, and use of compression as well. I think he's using compression probably a bit more than me in these presets, so that's always interesting to see a completely different take on it. Again, everything, both mine and Ian's presets, linked below in the description of the video or in the show notes of the podcast. I know I speak for Ian. I know he agrees with me when I say that we both appreciate the support and the questions, the comments, obviously the purchase of the product. That always helps us do more of what we do and bring you more stuff like this. And just for me anyway, the overwhelming amount of support and positive feedback when it comes to all of this stuff that we engage in online never gets old. It really doesn't. That's why we come back every day and keep doing it. So that's it. HX Stomp Extravaganza with Ian Martin Allison's brand new preset pack is done and in the books. And I'm sure there'll be more, and I will have that conversation with him in person and dive deeper into the sounds and ask him about the intent with which he produced them. All right, love you guys. Really appreciate you spending some of your insanely precious time with me, talking about music, learning about the bass, about the HX Stomp, about presets today. And I'll see you all on the next one.